Therapy Jeff
Therapy Jeff.
Fuck off. Can fuck off. Look, you don't get to establish, like, your boundaries are not everybody's boundaries. Different people have different boundaries. And if you're a therapist, you should know that and stop being a stupid kid on the internet.
But yeah, I don't like this idea that he's claiming, oh, the word boundary. It's just like, it's a therapy term instead of just a normal word that every person uses. Like, everybody sets boundaries.
And the message Jonah sent to Sarah, he is not setting boundaries that protect his emotional well-being.
You cannot possibly know that unless you're inside Jonah Hill's mind.
On to say that these are my boundaries for a romantic relationship. Jonah's use of the term boundaries in this message is a misuse of the concept. A boundary is a healthy limit.
He doesn't get better, like, the closer you get to him. He looks like a Pixar person.
Look, what he's saying.
He has a rat. He has a rat in his hair.
Thank you for not letting him finish his sentence. But what he is saying.
Oh, I almost don't care about.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like this idea that he's claiming, oh, the word boundary. It's just like, it's a therapy term instead of just a normal word that every person uses. Like, everybody sets boundaries. That's just a normal thing. You don't get to say, oh, this is just like a therapy term, therefore he is misusing therapeutic lingo. Well, no, he was just saying, like, what word should he use? What word should we use to, like, a border line?
Look, I can predict exactly what he's going to say. He's saying that boundaries are healthy, and that this thing that Jonah Hill has done is not healthy, and therefore it is not a boundary.
Wait, you're saying, say that one more time?
He is saying, using the word boundary, he's saying the definition of boundary is some healthy boundary for behavior. But he's saying that the behavior that Jonah Hill is exhibiting here is fascist, authoritarian type behavior that no one should engage in, and calling it a boundary disrespects the word boundary, because boundary is something healthy that healthy people do.
In his mind, you think this is really mostly just an issue. His name is Therapy Jeff. But you think that this is
hilarious.
It's literally just the use of the word boundary. If Jonah Hill had said something else, then it wouldn't, like, what would this guy have to talk about if he didn't use specifically the word boundary?
What Jonah Hill did is healthy. What Therapy Joe is doing is unhealthy, simping for some floozy on the internet. Don't everyone speak at once.
No, I'm processing all of this.
Do you think what Therapy Joe here is doing is healthy, telling his audience that they should just be, a total rollover in their relationships? That they should not establish boundaries that they're comfortable with, that they should establish boundaries that Therapy Joe is comfortable with?
My issue,
like, fuck you, Therapy Joe. So, suck my dick.
First off, it's Therapy Jeff.
Okay, well,
right?
Therapy Jeff.
My issue so far, Therapy Jeff.
Fuck off. Can fuck off. Look, you don't get to establish, like, your boundaries are not everybody's boundaries. Different people have different boundaries. And if you're a therapist, you should know that and stop being a stupid dickhead on the internet.
Well, as we proceed, we'll see what develops. But so far, my issue with Therapy Jeff is that he is taking such an issue with the word boundary, and he is declaring that to be a therapy, therefore a quasi-medical term, when I do not at all think that Jonah Hill is using this as a medical term. He's just using it like a normal fucking person uses the word boundary.
Right.
And I'm sure that more will emerge the more and more Therapy Jeff speaks. But so far, that's my biggest issue, because that implies that he's trying to take ownership of that word for a career, for the career of therapy in the field of therapy. But also, it's an extremely bad faith read of what Jonah Hill's doing.
Therapy Jeff studied at some critical theory university, so he's basically using a psychological method that is based in critical theory. It's not based in evolutionary psychology. Like, he probably repels at the idea of evolutionary psychology.
I think that where Therapy Jeff, he's probably from.
Do you agree, Sitch?
I'm gonna say Austin.
No, come on.
Do you?
What do you mean? Come on, wait,
Adam. You have one guess. Guess where he's from.
What do you mean? Come on, that's a fair guess.
No, you'll know when I tell you. You'll be like, it's obvious.
Portland.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I guess it?
You got it right.
Hey,
there we
go
that's
A team.
Those are good guesses.
Look, Sitch, do you agree with my assessment that he went to some critical theory university?
He went to University of Southern California.
Okay, USC.
No.
And I think the fact
critical
that
theories in all these universities now. So
is Therapy Jeff a therapist?
Well, he's at least pretending to be.
In marriage and family therapy.
Oh, that's so sad.
So is this a?
That's so sad.
Because I'm wondering, is this an issue of someone who is a therapist seeing that word and being like, "Oh, I am a hammer, therefore every word is a nail," you know?
Well,
like they said boundary.
Right.
Oh, I know what that word means to me in this professional clinical setting. So any use of that word, in regardless of context, is a misuse of that word, which is ridiculous. It's nonsense.
So
someone with a degree should be smarter.
As much as I don't like Therapy Jeff, because to me, if he has a master's degree, he's a licensed marriage therapist or relationship therapist, he should know that it's professionally unethical to try to psychologize or therapize someone over the internet that you don't actually understand the context of their situation. So it's very unethical and unprofessional to just look at some text messages from one person and try to talk about it. Like,
he should know better. He should be like, well, let's get, what does she have to say? What does Jonah have to say? What do we have? Let's get to the bottom of this.
Right.
But he is very, very quick to run to the defense of someone.
Well, I'm going to play this video, the next video after this, you'll know why. But giving him some little bit of charity here. He's probably referring to is that probably in the field of couples therapy, they probably do use the word boundary in some very specific, hyper-specific way. And Jonah Hill made a video, or he made a Netflix movie or something, documentary, about his journey through therapy that came out before this. So he's probably relating in his mind that, like, Jonah Hill should know better because he made a specific movie about this. That'd be my guess.
Wow.
But
I love Good Faith Gary being on the show with me.
There you go. But I do agree that it is ridiculous because obviously when you use the word boundary just in a normal definition sense, it just means a line that someone has.
Yeah, right. There's a line. Please don't cross this line. This is the boundary, because that's what the word boundary fucking means.
And I do think it's totally fine for a person to say that I have boundaries in a relationship that involve other people's behavior rather than just your own behavior. I think that's totally acceptable usage of the word, regardless of whatever hyper-specific word that Therapy Jeff uses in his practice. So, and it's not manipulative. It's not controlling. Blah, blah, blah.
It's fascism, Sitch.
Well,
a person sets for themselves to protect their well-being and integrity. It is a rule or guideline that one creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for others to behave towards them and how they'll respond when someone passes those limits. However, in the message Jonah sent to Sarah, he is not setting boundaries that protect his emotional well-being.
You cannot possibly know that unless you're inside Jonah Hill's mind. Mm-hmm. There's no way, because it's very possible that a man might set up a boundary for someone else's behavior in a relationship that absolutely is to protect their own emotional well-being. And that's not necessarily at all saying that that's a good or bad thing to do. But in Jonah Hill's mind, he may be doing this to protect his emotional well-being because he is watching her behavior and they are in a relationship, but not necessarily. But he's assuming this. He assumes he knows the mind of Jonah Hill. And I just have so little to work with. If we're both going off of just this information here and these texts that we've seen, neither of us can with any level of confidence know why Jonah Hill has set some of these boundaries where he has.
True. Completely true.
Instead, he is dictating what behaviors and friendships Sarah is permitted to have. He's essentially instructing Sarah on who she can be friends with, what she can do professionally, and how she can show up online.
Which are three normal things that exist on a massive spectrum. right?
Yes.
I think pretty much every relationship has a not a borderline, a boundary on all of those three things.
Yep.
And they can be extremely oppressively strict and unhealthy, or they can be the opposite, where they're so open that there's just no limits whatsoever. Which, if they want to do that, fine, do it if it works for you. But the vast majority of people are probably not like that. So, yeah.
18 nailed it. He even used the word dictate. Oh, like a dictator. You
Like,
fascist. Dictator.
Yeah, like Andrew Tate, the dictator.
He's just he's high. This
What's
guy's
up, my
high.
misogynies?
Oh, well, hey,
yeah.
look.
Speaking of
Dictators.
relationships, my girlfriend's here now.
Nice. It's bring your wife to work day.
That's right. This is. I see you
How
brought Sitch,
wonderful.
Adam. So
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.